Oh, where you watch? Look where you watch. Know where you watch. Choose the right thing to watch. And this enough to watch. Sticky Stucky Sweet TV with Keith Gargan, Facebook and YouTube. And that enough to watch. The movie star fly take off from Palpatine TV said that. Boom!
A big sound, a play a big tune.
Ja holy Emmanuel I woy Ja Gideon I'm a Gideon The Gideon I'm a Gideon The Gideon I'm a Gideon well Gideon go bustin' out them head again. So much oppression poor people face right now. Them crying out for freedom. Them crying out for free speech. Then said them want to stand up like them black liberators, like Malcolm X and Martin Luther and the ancient monarchy where come pave the way, sir. Free up black people from me tear down them fence, yeah. Gideon, I'm a Gideon. The Gideon, I'm a Gideon. The Gideon, I'm a Gideon, well, the Gideon go bustin' out them head. I listen, I see, I the power of the Trinity. Give us the teaching of His Majesty, and we know war, not every...
Blow, Mr. Gargan, blow! Blow till me dance up me toe!
This is Sticky Stucky Sweet TV with Keith Gargan. Good, healthy food with the X Factor. So give it a like, share, subscribe, and touch up that notification bell. And that is it. Look at that.
A 3 man I work at a time on that tower, on one side each. You have to go around on the sides them. Ethical work, you know, people. May I tell you now. Well, you see that dangerous work too.
And I came into that position largely because of Don Drummond. Time and time again, at the end of a week, the proceeds from their performance had been distributed. He hadn't expressed any interest in taking anything. He only came, played his music, and left.
Deliver me from my enemy, my God. Set me an eye from those who rise up against me. Deliver me from the workers of iniquity. Save me from the bloodthirsty men. For behold, they lie and wait for my soul. The mighty gather themselves together against me, not for my disobedience, not for my sin, Lord. I have done no wrong, yet they are ready to attack me. Rise up, behold, and help me. You, Lord God of armor, the God of Israel, rouse yourself to punish the nation. Show no mercy to the wicked, traitor sealer. They return at evening, howling like dogs, and prowl around the city. Behold, they spat with their mouth, so they are in their lips, for they say, Who art us? But you, Lord, laugh at them, you scoff of all the nation. O my strength, I wish for you, for God is my high tower. My God will go before me with his loving kindness. God will let me look at my enemy in triumph. Don't kill them, or my people may forget. Scatter them by their power, and bring them down, Lord, our shield. For the sin of their mouth and the words of their lips, let they be catched in their pride. For the curses and lie which they utter, consume them in wrath, consume them, and they will be no more. Let them know that God rules in Jacob to the ends of the earth. Selah. At evening let them return, let them howl like a dog, and go around the city. They shall wander up and down for food, and wait all night, if they ain't satisfied. But I will sing of your strength, yes, I will sing aloud of your loving kindness in the morning, for you have been my high tower, a refuge in the day of my distress. To you, my strength, I will sing praises, for God is my high tower, the God of my mercy, Selah. Up, up and running, up and gunning. Sticky Stucky Sweet TV, Keith Gargan. Cassava, passava, man over matter. Up and running, early or late. Yeah, man. Anyway, when I was saying the video before, you know, but I see a video with PJ Patterson, former Prime Minister. Even though I interviewed with the Voice of England, and that is 4 years ago, 2019. When I see that video, we know a lot of people never see it neither. Because if we never see it, a lot of people, because there's so social media going on. You have video go out there, about 10 million views, and yet people never see it, so I say it good. But, you know, anything me find interesting, me have to really jump in it, you know what I mean? So you have now. Yeah, and put out a video, well, as an interview, I'm going to tell some things where really make some sense, and people can learn from this as well, you know what I mean? Because he was he grew up with the Mandem and even Bustamante as a young man. Because the man had about long time, you know, and he was part of it. And that's you have to respect him. Although him do some little things. You know, what is a collective man, you know. Him still have some things where I'm not really happy with. But anyway, that is that. But you up now. The reason I carry this as well, because I know PJ Patterson personally. I know just see myself a picture. The man used to work, he used to be a housing minister, minister of housing. I don't remember at the time if it was a shadow. I think it was, it's me can't remember, you know, because a long time, you know. Sometimes your brains go you know, but he was the housing minister, minister of housing. That time minister of housing was at half a tree. Right, it's up on the same complex with JBC. You walk through JBC and you go in a housing. People who remember can't understand what we are talking about. And then you go on the road, when you got the road name again, where you come from Hope Road, with the club that you go to Agley Park Road, on the side there, where all the buses and music come and park right on the corner there. So you go and walk through there and you come through JBC and you go up on Wodian Avenue, right? So right at that space, so you have the JBC, you have the housing building, and then you have skating right behind JBC. Yeah, man, them place our place. Because I work at JBC from a young age, you know, because I used to learn trade as welder, and then people come from JBC and look, people to do, because we used to climb the tower. Because I remember, you know, JBC, them used to have, people don't really realize, you know, tower we have to climb where we carry the signal in all 14 parish. We used to go around and deal with the towers them. Because we have to change the bolts them, those long tower, and change the bolt them. And through me learn the welding thing there. So it's a torch welding. So you have the acetylene and the gas. Right? So we have the two buckles. So what we do, that tower set like that and go right up like that, and what is that tall tower, you know, some of them taller than some. And you have to climb it. You get climb on a ladder, you get strap on them thing, the protective thing, and then you pull the welding torch in the middle and that space with a puller, and then you have the strap around you, and then you burn off the bolt them, you rust the bolt them, and then you have a next person with there behind you, knock out the bolt, put in a new bolt, screw it up, and then you have a next person who paint it, right? So a 3 man work at a time on that tower, on one side each. You have to go around on the sides them. Ethical work, you know, people, may I tell you, well, you see that dangerous work too. Because until you have lightning, when you have lightning, you know, because I think I think it's St. Elizabeth, I don't remember, you know, and you have rain down so regular. And we have to run off of the tower every minute. Because once you see set up, you know, and you can't go up there when you can't up there with light in a flash, you know. It mash you up. So we have to know what you do. And then we have things again where we're faced with cotton lizard, some big lizard upon them tower. Sometimes them look upon you and so look down upon you, so you know. So if you jumpy, you fuck. Forgive me. Anyway, no word no bad. Some of them I talk about forgive me. Attack. So yeah, you know what I mean? So we used to do them things at JBC. We got the 14 parish. Change the bolt them, paint them, the towers them and things like that. So, you know, you have it up Jackson as well, one of a Jackson. But a lot of people, you have one at JBC, the big one, them things they gone now, well, I don't even know if it's gone, because they take notice Saturday, you know what I mean? But I don't know. But you have one big tower at JBC as well. But you have in every 14 parish, JBC towers. We used to work on them things there. And when them work, then I go on now, because we do it like, and like say every year we do it, you know, you have to do it every year. You do it at a certain time, because it will take a year if your bolt get rusty. You know what I mean? So when we do that now, because we take long if we go through all the parishes them, you know. So yeah. So then I kind of get the craft of doing the props. When I rope and tower, we do props work. So all them work that me do, props work and welding, burn off rusty bolt, all them things there. Yeah, man. So we are part of JBC in them early time there, you know what I mean? And them time when I work at JBC, you know, Oliver Samuels used to work there as well. I tell you who used to work there. Oliver Samuels used to work there. And we used to, yeah, from them time, I know the brother the phone is still, you know, Oliver. And then Eddie Fitzroy used to work there as well, over radio, as an accountant with Barry G. Barry G used to work there. Them time I talk about, you know. So, PJ used to drive a Fiat and he park it and drive in and he park it near to JBC and had some garage there. We used to wash him car, get a money from him. Sometimes the man come take a cigarette off of him. Because he used to come on and come take a break and boom, boom. And you know, have a reasoning. Man, you have reason with me, Zaki, Charlie. A lot of people, you know, man, I used to come and, you know what I mean, down to earth, brother PJ. You know what I mean? And that's how it used to go. So it's like somebody say, he's not a man, you know, somebody will me see, me know them man personally. Right? Personally, me know them people. Yeah. As a part of the thing. JBC housing, kind of connected together. Everything there, you know what I mean? So, and that's how it go. So that's why I see this thing I carry, because I don't want to tell a story. Because I remember, you know, PJ, I could tell you so well, and him suffer racism, not just when him there in England I study, but him go through that Jamaica too, and a Boston man too. So I'm not going to hear what him say. So I'm going to have to repeat what him say. Because I come from them time there. And I talk about danger man, because the man used to, the man play instrument, the man used to manage Scatterlight, the great Scatterlight. One of the greatest band that in Jamaica. Everybody all the world imitate them people right now. You know what I mean? And it's very good luck. So I see the story and I say, you know what? They just put my thing around it, because my thing a true thing when I deal with false and tell lie and things like that. You know what I mean? I work at JBC when Barry G did it. Eddie Fitzroy, rest in peace, brother. Eddie Fitzroy and good accountants, you know. Bright, brother. You know what I mean? When Eddie Fitzroy do him album, we know when it a do with Ozzy Harvey and them on the Princess Black. Yeah, man. We see them on our rehearse and things. We know everything about them things there. And then you have great Winston Williams, the whip, used to work there as well on the radio. Rest in peace again, brother. Them man, my brethren, as a youth, I grow up, you know what I mean? Respect to get from them people there. So, you know, I don't know, laba talk, we talk around here. So I see the story with PJ Patterson, and I tell you the things them, which is a good look, good year into as well. And I talk about, you know, his music career and blah, blah, him lawyer thing and things like that. So, you know, and I'm the first black prime minister in Jamaica where win popular vote by the people. You share come in, but you never vote for him. He come in because somebody, I think his sons are dead suddenly. So nobody never vote for you share. Like the idiot you share come to about shoot and ask question after. Yeah, man. And then Oris Changa come take it up now. So we are talking about them things that we are is a package we are giving, you know, on these levels. Yeah, man. So PJ was the first black prime minister. You know what I mean? So, you know, on joke business, so when the man attack, you have to listen to him. And Joel can't walk in the man's shoes. Anyone that even dirty shoes. Because the man a carrier, man. Man a liar, big top liar. What Andrew, who's Andrew? What Andrew do? Andrew just got school and then we had the man crab so well and Andrew and Duns, you know. You're not bright. But him use them common sense. I don't know him get the say, you know. But the man in come in politics to help people. Him now nothing no legacy. Right? Him now go have no legacy when him leave in premiership. He never come there with nothing. But him gonna go with everything. That's all him is. He's a 3-card man, a thief, and a liar. I'm going to put in that in this segment because it get me angry sometimes when you see people who... Because even Siago, you have to rate him because Siago used to be a producer, you know, in a music, you know. Although him tricky, but you have to give Caesar what due to Caesar. So Siago was and the next thing we talk about Siago, we're not going to do that right now. But you know, we can't talk them one by one. We are talking about Patterson now, right? So I see him do this interview and he's very interested, you know, I'm talk the things them. And it's good to listen to these type of things. And it's great. Yeah, man. Man who have 18 years and things like that. Because PJ Patterson do a lot of good, you know. I see, if you drop in all one, we call it one bag Sheriff Vegas in this, you know. Because Vegas come talk about you want terms and next third terms and a GLP, you know, and a PMP government in the 90s. Enough money them they make on a PMP, you know. Vegas, you know, enough money. But you don't see that. You must see the negative and the sellout. I sell him sell out, or them buy him out or whatever. But yeah, but anyway, that is our next thing. But you know, each time I burn him, I'm going to beat him and everything. Because everything when we talk about, it's have a sense. We are talking about man who deal with music, the greatest band in Jamaica. Patterson manage them. Patterson play instrument. Patterson the top lawyer. Patterson was the top prime minister to head of government, believe you me. So, I don't know joke business. Manley was a top lawyer too. So you see PMP rich. What Andrew Wallace do? When do? When bring to the table? Beside lie. And thief. Yeah, man. That can bring to the table, nothing else. So, you know, we have to really bring in this because it's a good little interview him though. Intelligent, you know what I mean, when I come from how things we do. I'm going to tell you the whole things. So we're going to play a piece of it, you know, and make people understand. We never see it before. So I see it and look on it. I see it worthwhile. Dig off piece. And show it on my channel. And that me do. Because some me like to do things. Yeah, man. So, you know, as I'm saying, you know, we know them on it personally. We Zaki, Charlie. The whole crew, man. And don't forget to, you know, all of the segment, I can't say this to you, know. Remember, you know, Manley wife, Beverly Manley, me used to buy star for her, you know. I even time, you know. As a little youth, you know. You used to buy star for her. Go pick up her star. Because you have a guango tree in a JBC. Big guango tree with some bench. And they come in a JBC. That's where people hang out. Them time in Jamaica nice. You know. Then you have JIS right on the next side. So all the manager of JIS, Robinson, and his son. Me know them people are good. The manager of JIS. Yeah. Them time the JIS are JIS. Them are JIS put out government information. Now, this government, what them do, the GIS is there to put out free information, but instead of them using GIS, to thief money from Jamaican taxpayers' money, well, it's taxpayers' money anyway, to thief the money, put it in their pocket, enriching themselves, what them do? Them not use GIS, you know, what them do? You have Christoph Tong come out with that thing there, Market Me. I don't know about that company, a film company that, you know, because he want, all this money he want to put in at that. Yeah, me tell you, so these people, bare face, you know. And people now looking at them things and know that them things are going on, you know, people. Because you have GIS, you know, them trying to any government, whether Labour government or, you know, say GIS, they never used to cheat like this. See how go move money, but he move it, because I'm saying, if he got some more, much million. Well, yeah. Anyway, I'm not going to straight on the story, but, you know, we just want to drop in little things in between before you go to the video, because them things are the thing where you talk about. JIS was a Jamaican Information Service. So them the people used to put out things. You don't have to pay them, because they're a part of the service, just like JBC, Jamaica Broadcasting Corporation. Yeah, another circle. But no. This government come and find all kind of tricks and trade to thief money. They don't use GIS again, they got to Market Me to move taxpayers' money. Anyway, people, I'm not going to really stress out that, because that'll get me mad. So anyway, let's go to the video I hear a PJ Patterson, I say, here goes. Boom!
I was privileged to gain one of the few scholarships at the time and entered a secondary institution. And there, people came not only from different parts of Jamaica, but indeed from different countries in the Caribbean. Descendants, sons of persons who were Jamaicans, but had gone there to participate, whether in the building of the Panama Canal or working in the fields in Cuba, in Venezuela. The first time that I was actually exposed to racial discrimination, it took me a little while before I recognized what had happened. Then, of course, by the time I came to the United Kingdom to study for my law degree, I had had a taste of it, but I quite frankly wasn't well prepared for some of what I saw. You would apply, you'd see a flat advertised and go for the flat, and the landlord took one look at you and told you that the flat was no longer available. Some would have the effrontery to say, blacks weren't welcome here. So I've run the gamut. But I think one of the things in Jamaica which we don't always appreciate and we sometimes take for granted is that there's so many people, different color, different ethnic origins, Chinese, Indians, persons from the Middle East, unquestionably Jamaican. And out of that, we have what I would say built a cultural feast. There's so many things that infuse the Jamaican culture. I think we ought to emphasize more of the commonalities within our society rather than the differences which undoubtedly still exist.
Granted, and I don't want to labour the point, but nevertheless, you being the 6th Prime Minister of Jamaica were undoubtedly the first Jamaican Prime Minister who was black.
The first one chosen as a result of the popular vote. Mr. Shearer, who was the 4th, became Prime Minister as a result of the sudden death of Donald Sangster. And it was the parliamentary group that made him. But the first person unquestionably a black happened to be me.
But like you say, that's not as important perhaps as what Jamaica has been able to achieve over the course of the 20th century. You mentioned in passing some of the architects of modern Jamaica, Sir Alexander Bustamante and Norman Manley. These aren't just historical figures to you, these are people that you met and knew.
Oh, certainly, persons with whom I had considerable association. And in the case of Sir Alexander, When I began my political apprenticeship, he said to me he knew who I was because my maternal grandfather had been the principal of Cocoon School where he attended. And his words to me were, "You come from good family stock. What are you doing in my cousin's party?" And I would say that...
his cousin being Norman Manley.
Of course. Whenever he saw me, he was always giving me advice, including strongly suggesting that I ought to go to pursue my career in law, in the hope, as he said, that I'd be half as good in law as his cousin Norman, because Norman Manley, as a lawyer, in his opinion, was twice as good as all the other lawyers put together.
Well, it's true.
Insofar as Norman Manley is concerned, I've said in my book, he's my lodestar. He's the person under whose political leadership I served my apprenticeship. I have written in the book about discussions we had here in London when he came for the independence talks. I was then a student at the London School of Economics. I was privileged to join him in a number of campaigns. I watched his approach to organization. I watched his approach to national leadership, and very, very significantly, I came to appreciate the power of legislative action to effect meaningful social change.
And why I say it's true, Norman Manley was better than the best of the lawyers that Britain could throw at him when he was challenging Britain for the if you like, the preamble to the independence of Jamaica, is that he wiped the floor with them, essentially. That's the history that Jamaica needs to be told, isn't it?
Oh yes, certainly.
He did wipe the floor with them. As a lawyer, in your book, you reveal that you were the barrister that defended the great Don Drummond when he was charged and subsequently found guilty on grounds of insanity of the murder of his partner. As a lover of Jamaican music, Don Drummond, for me, still holds a very special place. What do you remember about that trial and the Don Drummond that you saw and you defended?
I came to serve as the manager of the greatest musical aggregation that Jamaica has ever seen, and
the Scatterlights,
and will ever see, in my view, the Scatterlights, a band of stars. And I came into that position largely because of Don Drummond. Time and time again, at the end of a week, the proceeds from their performance had been distributed. He hadn't expressed any interest in taking anything. He only came, played his music, and left. And Margarita, his partner, would turn up at our office on a Friday and say, "We have no money." So, first of all, we took it out of our own pockets, Tony Spalding and myself, who shared chambers, and eventually I stepped in and ensured that the band was put on a proper footing insofar as payments were concerned to the members. I mention that because it is Don Drummond that caused me to come in, and it was also Don Drummond who I had Tony Spaulding and myself to defend. He was a loner. He was a mystic person. He lived only for his music. But one could detect a form of melancholia that was always evident in him. I can't remember ever seeing him smile or laugh. But when he was excited, he would express it through his music.
And his trombone.
Oh, certainly his trombone. Very often, when the band was finishing on a night, he would pick out individual members and he would say to them, "We're going to cut a tune tomorrow." And they would ask him, "Have you written the music?" He says, "No, just bring your horn or bring your instrument." And he would start and they would accompany him and he would continue and they would step up to the plate. And that's how most of his great innovations were done.
One important part of Jamaican history there is the music. It strikes me that you're not the only former Prime Minister of Jamaica
Certainly not.
that has either managed or produced music, because we know Edward Seaga, for example, was a great record producer as well in his time. And we know that arguably your direct mentor was Michael Manley, at least that's how it appears in your book. Michael Manley wasn't averse to using a Joshua reference to aid his political fortunes.
The music played a great part in our campaign in 1972. It was reflecting the feeling of protest. It was reflecting a feeling of resentment that despite some economic progress, the inequalities were still evident and in fact increasing. It was reflecting the want of a better life for the Jamaican people, summed up in "Better Must Come," which was our main campaign song. Prior to the elections, we had a bandwagon campaign which took the best musicians right throughout the country. And the music said it all. We just, certainly Michael Manley articulated that feeling of yearning for social justice. That's what the music.
Socialism with democracy was his slogan.
Correct.
And he captured, at a very radical time for Jamaica, it seemed, he and you, a central part of his government, seemed to capture the mood of the country, not just of the country, maybe of people of African heritage right throughout the diaspora, because this is the time of...
Well, the struggle for freedom, the struggle for liberation was not confined to Jamaica. extended beyond, well beyond our shores. We felt that where there was oppression anywhere, there was oppression everywhere. Particularly, I would mention in this conversation the privilege I had of traveling with Bob Marley from London to Salisbury, as it then was, Harare, as it now is, when we celebrated the independence of Zimbabwe. And the people there conveyed in no uncertain terms their appreciation of what the music had done to inspire and fortify them in the struggle.
Yeah, they could have been singing not just Africans liberate Zimbabwe, but Jamaicans liberate Zimbabwe, because that tune by Bob Marley was the anthem of the day.
Definitely so.
Throughout Zimbabwe. Okay, if we move forward, you served under Michael Manley, and then as he became ill, he passed over the baton of the leadership of the PMP to you, and for you to become Prime Minister. And he wrote a very moving letter to you. I don't know, I read the letter and I could hear the voice of Michael Manley almost, as he knew that the times they are changing, that he had done his part. How much of you started off this interview by talking about the burden of being Prime Minister. How much did you feel that burden at that point? Did you know what you were taking on?
I had been involved in the government of Jamaica, certainly from 1972 to 1980, as Minister of Industry, Foreign Trade and Tourism firstly, and then as the Minister of Foreign Trade, Foreign Affairs and Tourism. And then we lost the elections in 1980. When we returned to office in 1989, I was restored as the Deputy Prime Minister and placed in charge of development, planning, production, and for a year as the Minister of Finance. So I would say that I had a good grasp of the challenges which we faced. I separated the two periods deliberately, because in the interval the whole world order was changing. Certainly the Soviet Union was disappearing, and the dominance of globalization and the insistence on the market economy had appeared. So we had to make significant adjustments in our policy and our programs from 1989 onwards. And I was a leader of that process even before becoming Prime Minister in 1992.
And this was a time when Edward Seaga was describing your PMP government as communist.
Yes, and we had suffered from that electorally, and to some extent our international image had been distorted, and we had to get things
But did
right.
he not have some justification there? Because under Michael Manley, your PMP government aligned itself with Cuba, with Fidel Castro, who clearly is a communist or was a communist leader.
I have said it in the book, and I'll say it very simply. In the fight for independence globally throughout the world, and particularly in Africa, where apartheid still existed, where the decolonization process had been stalled in places like Namibia, in Zimbabwe. There was no difference of outlook between Cuba and ourselves. It's not about following the Soviet ideology. It's about the assertion of our right as independent people to discharge our sovereign competence over our people and the assets which we own. Now, in terms of the internal political situation, how we organize things, we were never seeking to follow the Cuban model in terms of their internal arrangements. We have always been a democratic oriented party, internally and nationally. So I have made it pretty clear, as reflected in several discussions we've had with the Cubans, that the idea that we were about to apply a Cuban model for the Jamaican political situation really has no foundation.
But nevertheless, Jamaica was aligning itself internationally, whether it be with Cuba, whether it be with Venezuela, whether it be with other interests. It affected the economy.
Stop a minute. You mentioned Venezuela. There's a distinct difference between the Venezuela pre-Chavez and the Venezuela post-Chavez. And let it be said, we had good relationships with Venezuela before Chavez and during and since Chavez. In fact, our relationships with Venezuela go way back from the time of Simon Bolivar. A point I want simply to make is a sovereign country has to determine what is best for itself, not what others want for it. What it wants for itself. And that's what we in Jamaica, the party that I have had the honor to lead and to serve, has always been about.
But whilst you were looking outwards as an internationalist, whilst you were making connections all across the world, in Africa, of course, you mentioned the delegation that you and Michael Manley led to countries like Nigeria, to Ghana. You brought back the rod of correction from Ethiopia and so on. Whilst you were looking outwards, there were real problems in Jamaica, which you yourself addressed in your inauguration. You said the primary issue in this country, I mean, you said two things, and I'll come on to the second one in a moment. You said the primary issue in this country, and it became something of an anecdote that still lives out there, is, you quoted the Ernie Smith song, Duppy or a Gunman. You said, it must be a Duppy or a gunman. I may not find out yet, but I'm telling you now, it's the gunman that is the real problem here in Jamaica. And that was what the legacy of a decade at least of political fighting had resulted in. A plethora of guns and gunmen walking the streets of Jamaica and causing havoc. That was the real issue to deal with, not how Jamaica was being perceived internationally, surely.
From the end of the 60s, and again it's evident in the music of the times, we were developing what the musicians themselves describe as the rude boy. And that continued to go down the wrong path.
Because there was no work for the rude boy at the time. There was no opportunity. Remember, that was your mantra when you became Prime Minister. Opportunity, opportunity.
That's correct. By certainly the 1990s, it was not so much the political element that was driving the violence. In fact, I would say steps had been taken which virtually removed politics as a driving force for the violence. It was mostly in relation to fighting for turf, fighting for territory, and a lot of it was around drugs, and the more that pressure was put on containing it or addressing it on the drug front, it then moved to scamming. And it's still the very biggest problem, even now, while the economy is doing much better, certainly.
Sorry, scamming. What do you mean by scamming?
Lottery scamming. Persons inducing innocent and particularly elderly people in the United States that they have won some lottery and they have to send some money for it, and the persons engaged in it are fighting locally for control, and even when the proceeds have been obtained and they feel they are not being properly or evenly distributed, violence enforcement becomes the order of the day.
I wonder whether, when you look back, I can think of many achievements of your time as Prime Minister. You changed the landscape, definitely in terms of education, opportunities in terms of jobs, and so on. What would you say was your greatest achievement as Prime Minister in Jamaica?
I would say managing to help in the release of our creative potential as a people. Getting persons in Jamaica to understand and accept that knowledge, education, opportunities constitute the way forward, not only for ourselves as a nation, but for each person as an individual.
Where does that creative power come from? We've seen Jamaica punching above its weight musically. We've seen it punching above its weight in terms of athletics, particularly sprint. We've seen it punch way above its weight in the cultural impact it's made here in Britain. You know, every other younger person talks of a little bit of Jamaicanese about them, whether it's absorbed through the music or through the diaspora, the Jamaicans who came here and changed the nature of this country from Windrush forwards. And so where does that creative power comes from? It's immense.
It's partly that combination of accumulated experience of hardships, of aspirations, the blend that is due to bringing together persons from Africa, India, China, Lebanon, Europe, and putting them in a Caribbean space with the endowment of nature, with the proximity to North America and the impact of the cultural influences which flow, of our linkages through history, and the experiences of our people over time. And I think we have been abundantly blessed, and it's how we nurture it, and it's how we expose it. You mentioned in your question to me all the areas in which we have excelled. We've also done it in areas of science, in medicine, in literature, in sports. There's nothing that we can't achieve. We can make it if we keep on trying.
And just a final point, if that's the case, if we accept that, then it would seem to me that the greatest duty, or the a priori duty of any Prime Minister of Jamaica is to paraphrase the great poet Louise Bennett, Miss Lou, if we boil up the culture, it would seem that the most important role of a Prime Minister is to maintain that X factor, that culture.
Let's be ourselves and make the best of what we are and what we can achieve together.
Your Excellency PJ Patterson, thank you very much. The book is My Political Journey, Jamaica's 6th Prime Minister, speaking in his own words. Thank you.
Thank you.
A big sound up here, big tune. Jah holy Emmanuel, I boy. Jah Gideon, I'm a Gideon. The Gideon, I'm a Gideon. The Gideon, I'm a Gideon. Well, Gideon go busting out them head again. So much oppression poor people face right now. Them crying out for freedom. Them crying out for free speech. Then said them want to stand up like them black liberators, like Malcolm X and Martin Luther and the ancient monarchy where come pave the way, sir. Free up black people from me tear down them fence, yeah. Gideon, I'm a Gideon. The Gideon, I'm a Gideon. The Gideon, I'm a Gideon, well, the Gideon go busting out them head. I listen, I the power of the Trinity. Give us the teaching of His Majesty, and we know war, no devil philosophy. Not tentacle for man's skin is of no more significant well to the color of his eye. Remember all the war done in 1935.
This is Sticky Stucky Sweet TV with Keith Gargan. Good, healthy food with the X Factor. So give it a like, share, subscribe, and touch up that notification bell. And that is it. Look at that.